Out of all the criticisms and the things that have been leveled at the Ravens coaching staff, and some of them are legitimate, some of them are out of left field, and some of them are in between. The one thing that I can co-sign with 100% surety is that we have not been good at making adjustments in game. And I think that is offensively and defensively, to be honest with you. Now, of course, we have a new coordinator on defense, so that could change. Um, Another aspect of that I think is related to the in-game adjustments is situational play calling on offense. What we're going to show here is a play from 2019. It's a 3rd and 2 against the Patriots. This is a classic game. Of course, Ravens fans probably could never get enough of watching film of this. The Ravens taking it to the Patriots on a Monday Night Football game in our black uniforms, obviously, and winning the game. I think 37 to 20. It's a 3rd and 2. We're going to let it run through. You can see that running back Gus Edwards is lined up at the top of the screen. Jamie Collins, a linebacker, a hybrid linebacker for Patriots for many years, is lined up over top of him, pretty much gives away the coverage. Second indicator that you have is the free safety in the middle of the field. Bill Belichick is known as a guy who plays man free on 3rd and medium, 3rd and short. And we got the coverage we wanted. We ran essentially a shield pick concept to Mark Andrews down here at the bottom side of the screen. Got what we wanted. Lamar got rid of the ball quick enough. I think it was a split second late, but we got the ball out, got the first down, moved on, went down to score, I believe, to take a 14-0 lead, but I could be wrong there. But let's look at it a little bit in more detail, and I want to expand on my initial thoughts. I believe that many quarterbacks across the league, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, all of them benefit from 3, 4, or 5 schemed up or designed pass plays every week. I do. I think you can see evidence of it when you watch the film. It is difficult to find evidence of that when watching Ravens games. In a video that I did last week, I talked about making the game easier for Lamar Jackson. Not because he needs it made easier for him to survive. He willed us to an 8-3 record last year while we had so many guys out. I know one of those 8 wins was not his win. It was Tyler Huntley going up into Chicago and getting a close win against a very weak Bears team. But point being, Lamar, he can shoulder responsibility. He can win games. I get it. My contention is that we don't need to do that to him. We should be scheming up pass plays like this one. And there's no reason why in the NFL we can't recognize what coverages the defensive coordinator likes to play in certain situations and then be able to take advantage of that. Now, if you can't do that, the natural thought that some people might say, particularly people who aren't Ravens fans, is, well, Lamar's not smart enough to recognize it. Well, that's BS, first of all. That's BS. Second of all, it goes back to the teaching during the week. How do you recognize certain things? Now, this is easy. I've referred to it again. You have a linebacker stepped out of the box on a running back. That's obviously man. As Andrews motions across, this DB goes with him. That's obviously man. Now, people can do things, and they can change the coverage post-snap. You can have signals. If you have any kind of wherewithal, and if this is done early in the game, which it was here, later on in the game, if we try the same thing, what might happen is this corner jumped this short route by Lamar, this safety dropped down, and then this guy rolled back. But theoretically, Lamar would be able to see that. So even if you make adjustments defensively, there are times where you can still kind of tip your hand as to what you're doing. What would the Ravens do if the Patriots adapted their coverage on this motion? We don't know, because we rarely force defenses to do that. Whatever defenses come in with, generally, in some of these situations, is what they're allowed to run for most of the game. I am not a anti-Greg Roman person. I try to maintain a balanced perspective on it and look at the actual plays, the actual routes, the actual film, and things they're asking Lamar to do, and then evaluate those things, sometimes in isolation. And then from there, make grander statements as I'm able to do that. We have not been able to take advantage of teams in these situations, getting Lamar those easy completions like that, which I believe Patrick Mahomes gets at least 4 to 5 times per game. When you look at the stats at the end of the game, in my opinion, 4 or 5 of Patrick Mahomes' completions are just like this one. Catch the football, throw it because he knows the coverage, knows where he's got to go with the ball, and he's usually getting, this is somewhat of an estimation, between 30 and 45 or 50 yards out of those completions, depending on the yards after catch. This was not a big play in the grand scheme of things. You may say this play doesn't move the needle, which is a BS saying, and if you're using that saying, stop. Okay, it's corny. But this did not generate a huge amount of yards, but what it did was get us a new set of downs. And we should be able to do things like this, not just on third down. We should be able to do things like this in certain situations where we know the coverage. And I haven't really broken the play down. I think it's obvious what's happening here. You've got 3 receivers. This guy running in man, has either got to run behind these DBs or underneath of them, which is a little dangerous if you ask me, because then what can happen is one of these guys running across can run his man into the DB running underneath. So the safest thing to do is to have the guy who's running with the man in motion to run behind, which is what he does. This route here with this outside release is not designed to get the ball at all. This is all designed for him to just act as a shield on this defender, basically forcing this guy to do the same thing I just talked about. Either go underneath or go over the top. It doesn't matter because it's 3rd and 2, so we're going to get the yards needed to gain anyway. You can see, I think Mark Andrews gets 3 or maybe 4 yards there. We have done things like this. This is a very simple explanation for me to cover in a short video time period. I struggle to find many examples of this, though, to be honest with you, where we come out, we know the coverage, we know how a team's going to play it, and we attack it with a quick play where Lamar is not expected to make 1, 2, or even 3 decisions on the same play. And I contend that most other quarterbacks, especially really good ones, get those opportunities during the game. So that would be referring back to teaching, as I said earlier. And maybe that's the element that our offensive staff has to improve on. In my opinion, in 2021, I thought we got better at some of these things, to be honest with you. I did not like, short screens to Marquise Brown in Miami. I'm not advocating nor am I calling that a designed play that I think is well designed and well executed. What's my overall point as I end this up? I think there are things that the Ravens offense needs to get better at, clearly. They need to get better at installing certain new concepts. The bootleg concept, I think, would be a better substitute for the option game that we ask Lamar to do, to be honest with you. But in any case, finding ways to get simple completions for Lamar, simple plays where he gets the ball out to a playmaker and lets those guys have the onus of responsibility for that play, at least for that play. Lamar's going to take the responsibility, shoulder the burden for much of the game. There have to be moments where we take that responsibility from him, and it can't just be run plays where he's handing the ball off. There has to be some pass plays where we teach him during the week, hey, if the linebacker's here and the ball's on the hash, it's this coverage. And guys, I can't get into it in this video. There are tells like that defenses give you. Defenses have rules, and there are times where you can predict the coverage based on a certain alignment of 1 or maybe 2 players on the defense. That's just a fact. You can do that with enough film study. I don't watch it from an offensive standpoint for the Ravens, so I don't know. I don't have an example offhand of that to use in the NFL. I'm referring to my high school coaching background. Point is, these guys are capable of doing that. It's the coach's responsibility to find some of those things along with the players and then be able to communicate it to the players during the week so they can recognize it during the game, make the adjustment to the pre-installed designed play, and then we execute it, something that's simple, quick, and easy for our quarterback, not just to get him, an extra 4 or 5 completions and an extra, maybe 4 or 5 is too many, maybe at least an extra 2 or 3 completions and an extra 30 or 40 yards that's easy for him, but also to keep the football moving forward so that every play isn't totally reliant on Lamar Jackson to make the play, because that's not fair, and you do see some inefficiencies develop over the course of the season, if you ask me, from overuse and unnecessary use, which is something I referred to in a video where I spoke about earlier this week. Hopefully you guys enjoy this video. I am looking for opportunities, other opportunities like this one, to show designed plays. They're just difficult to find for the Baltimore Ravens, at least dating back to 2019. Let me know what you guys think of the video in the comment section, if you enjoy this breakdown or not. The one play video series, I'd like to keep it going. I'd like to kind of move it to some situational stuff, however. And again, it's somewhat difficult to find, at least for the Ravens.